The house is quiet, the backpacks are gone, and you're sitting there thinking, I thought I'd feel relieved. So why do I just feel lost? This episode is for a woman who did everything right,
And something's wrong, but just tried her best.
loves her kids like crazy, and still can't shake that feeling that something was taken from her when they walked out the door. Today, we're going to name what that actually is, and I'm going to show you that there's a way through it. Welcome to Create Your Best Empty Nest, Episode 17, The Truth About Losing Your Purpose. Your problem right now isn't that you're grieving your kids exactly, it's that you're grieving the version of yourself that always knew what to do next. The one with a full schedule, a full house, a full purpose. And now the calendar has gaps that you don't really know how to fill. And it feels wrong to even say that out loud. Right now, you might be feeling unanchored, a little embarrassed, wondering if something is wrong with you. Like you should be grateful and move on, but you just quite can't. You want to feel like yourself again, to wake up to somewhere to be in something that matters, to stop feeling like you're waiting for your kids to call or real life to start back up. So today we're going to talk about tips and tools of the truth about losing your purpose. All right, think about this. Your last kid's a senior in high school and the empty nest is looming. Maybe you've just dropped off your last kid, or maybe it's about a year away. Either way, you're noticing something that feels almost too quiet. Not just the house, but inside yourself. Like the engine that was always running has been turned off. A lot of women I talk to try to push through this by staying busy, filling their schedule with stuff. New hobby, more volunteering, fill the time. But busyness and purpose are not the same thing. Let me say that one more time. Busyness and purpose are not the same thing. And your gut already knows that. Here's what I want you to walk away with today. Nothing has gone wrong with you. What you're feeling has a name. And once you name it, you can actually do something with it. All right. First point. What you're actually grieving, it's not just the kids leaving. It's the loss of the built-in purpose that's real, and it's different from missing your kids. I remember when the mornings were full, we would have scriptures and we'd have breakfast and gather the backpacks and the shoes and all the things and then send them out the door. And then starting about 2:30, the pickup began, the homework, the lessons, the practices, the games, the full purpose of raising humans, and sometimes that exhausting rhythm. But the moment the kids started driving themselves, that was a little bit of shift as well. They were driving themselves to the games and the practices, and they didn't need me quite as much. And then when they all left, that was a slow realization that the house wasn't just that it felt empty. It was the daily sense of, I know exactly what I'm doing here and it matters. So stay with me this moment. I could fill out my days with a lot of different things, but the feeling of actually helping humans develop, of being genuinely needed for a specific way, that was gone. The honest, hard part to name, it felt safer to say, I miss my kids. And that was true, but that's harder than to say, I don't know who I am without this role. So here's your belief shift. Before, I just miss my kids. I'll get over it. After, I'm grieving something specific and real, the loss of the purpose that was woven into every single day. And that deserves to be named. So here's one take home tip. Write down 3 things that gave you a sense of daily purpose during your active mothering years. Not the events, but the feeling behind them. I mattered. I was needed. What I did today made a real effect on someone I love. Notice those feelings that you're hungry for now. Okay, I love that one. All right, point number 2. Why the best moms feel this the hardest. The more present you were, the bigger the hole is going to feel. Avery went kayaking on an island, and she was finally off that hamster wheel of all the things of motherhood. She finally had a free Tuesday with no carpools, no obligations, nowhere to be. And instead of feeling free, she felt almost hollow. And she went kayaking. She used something she used to love to do as a kid. And for a minute, she was back. She remembered who she was before she was someone's mom. Her dad used to take her out on the water, and the memory is still golden. But that version of herself is still in there. The point is, That women who throw themselves fully into motherhood aren't broken when it ends. They're just the most acutely aware of that contrast. You gave up everything. Of course, the quiet hits differently for you. So there's your belief shift. Before you think, I should be fine by now. Other women handle this way better than I do. To the depth of this feeling is actually a reflection of how fully I showed up. That's not a problem. That's my baseline for what purpose feels like. And you can have those golden moments and kayaking, just like Avery. Here's your take home tip. Think about one thing you loved doing before kids, like Avery with the kayaking, or something you always said, someday I'll do that. Not because it will solve everything, just get curious about what lights you up when there's no one depending on you. I recently had a conversation with a friend of mine, and she said she has all these things that she wants to do, and the young woman's president, and she has 4 of her kids at home. She says, I have this someday I'll do that list. And it makes sense that why she's in that active motherhood and that active calling, she wouldn't have that time and energy to do that. But keep in mind what you had put on those someday lists. And then this is the time that you actually get to do that. It's so exciting. Point number 3, even people who look like they have everything figure this out the hard way. This isn't a you problem. This is a human problem. Tom Brady, who's a very talented football player, he retired and then he unretired. And it wasn't for the money. It wasn't because his family wasn't enough. It was because for decades, the structure of his days gave him a clear purpose. When that was gone, so was something that he couldn't name. He came back for meaning. That was the honest version of his story. And Michelle Obama, after her daughters left and the White House chapter ended, she talks about feeling so disoriented. It felt like she no longer was needed in the same way. She didn't pretend it was all a relief. She said she needed time to figure out who she was when that structure was gone. The point isn't that these famous people struggle too. It's to see it happens to everyone. The point that is that purposeful people, people who showed up fully, fill this gap acutely. This actually is a sign that you were living your life with intention, and you can continue to do that in your next chapter. So the belief before is something is wrong with me for feeling this way. The belief after is this is what happens when a purpose-driven person finishes a major chapter. The next step is building the next one, but not waiting for it to appear. Here's your take-home tip. Say this out loud or write it down. The way I feel right now isn't the end of the story. It's the space between chapters. Then ask, what did I used to dream about when I let myself dream? Okay, next point. You have to build your next purpose. No one hands it to you. In this season, purpose is something you choose, not something you receive. A friend of mine, Cindy, she came into this season frustrated, feeling like the process wasn't working, like she wasn't getting what she wanted out of it. And she was focused on herself, on what was missing for her. And then something shifted. She started asking, how can I help? What do the other women in this season need? What do I have to offer? And that shift from what am I getting to what can I give changed everything for her. That's the one powerful thing I see in the work I do with women. The ones who find their footing the fastest are the ones who stop trying to recreate their old purpose when they're active motherhood and start asking, who do I want to be now? What matters to me in this stage of my life? Getting honest about what you actually value when it's up to you to decide. So here's your belief shift. Before, I'm just waiting until I figure it out what I'm supposed to do next. To after, I don't find my next purpose, I build it. And I start by asking myself what I actually want, not what I'm supposed to want. That's a big difference. Not what you're supposed to want. Okay, so here's your take home tip. Pull out a piece of paper, right at the top. If I knew I couldn't fail and nobody was watching, I would spend my time, write it down. Don't edit it. Don't make it reasonable. Just write. All right, final point. The first step isn't a plan, it's permission. Before you can build anything new, you have to let yourself want it. After my kids left, the quiet was scary. It was the realization I've been doing that for so long that stopped me thinking what I actually wanted. And when I finally sat down and got honest about that, it almost felt forbidden. Like wanting things for myself was selfish after all those years of giving. My husband had had lots of businesses that I had helped him with and I had supported him on. And to actually think I wanted to build my own coaching business kind of felt selfish. But what changed was I gave myself permission to want more than just an empty calendar, permission to want work that lit me up, connection that was mine, a life that I was building, not just maintaining. That's where the reflect, reclaim, reimagine work in my program starts. Not with a 5-year plan, with a question, what matters to me now? Here's your belief shift. It feels selfish to focus on myself now. I should be grateful. 2, after, wanting a life that's full and meaningful in the next season. That isn't selfish. It's a natural next step. And it starts with getting honest about what you actually want. And here's the truth, my friends. You will show up as a better mom, as a better grandma, as a better friend when you do that. So here's one take-home tip for you. Give yourself a 5-minute window and ask and actually answer what would feel like a really good day for me right now in this season. Not what you think the answer should be, what actually sounds good. All right, here we go. You're not just missing your kids. You're grieving a specific kind of daily purpose that was built into your life. And that loss is real. The women that feel this the hardest are the ones who showed up the most fully. That's not a flaw. That's just the kind of person you are, which you'll bring into your next chapter if you allow it. This is a human thing, not a you thing. Purpose-driven people feel this gap. That means that the next step, they're building something new, not waiting to feel ready. In this season, you don't wait for purpose to arrive. You ask yourself what matters, and you start from there. And finally, before anything can happen, you have to give yourself permission to actually want a next chapter. That's where everything begins. If this episode hit something real, I want to have a conversation with you. I offer a free next chapter jumpstart call, and it's exactly what it sounds like. We sit down together for 30 minutes. We talk about where you are, what's feeling heavy, and what you actually want your life to look like. No pressure, just an honest conversation to help you get some clarity. Just go to marianneiverson.com/call. That's Marianne with an I and an E on the end, iverson.com/call. And that's it. The link's also in the show notes. Book the call. You've done hard things before. This is just the next one. Your best next chapter is waiting for you. Will you show up for it? Hey, you've raised humans, good ones, I'm guessing. That doesn't go away when they leave. It lives in you, and the next chapter gets to be a good one. Thanks for being here today. I'll see you next week.
If this felt familiar, you're not alone. I created a short quiz, Who Am I, after the kids leave. It helps you name what actually is going on for you in this season and what you might need next. You'll find the link in the description. And if you want more conversations like this, you could subscribe. I'm here every week.